Welcome to Q&A practice. Let's get started with the defense. Ready? As a general rule, is liquor sold from that display counter? Yes, sir. Did you happen to notice the window when you left on Saturday afternoon? Did you notice that display counter? Yes. Of your own knowledge, do you recall whether or not any liquor was missing from the shelves or from that display? Yes. Your store faces east, does it? Yes. On the diagram, you have indicated in red where the glass was broken. Is that correct? Yes. And on the bottom you have what appears to be a shelf, and the rum was on that shelf. Is that right? Yes. Now, how far away was the rum from the plate glass? I would say 18 inches. Now, did you have some gin on display also? Yes. Were the shelves one on top of the other? Yes. And how far from the front of the glass was this gin? 18 inches. Approximately how many bottles of rum would you say were on display there? I won't swear to the number of bottles, but there was better than a case, and I figure that there were 2 or 3 gone. I wouldn't swear to it, but I know how many bottles of gin there were. I had just put them on the shelf. When did you put the gin on the shelf? The day before. And how many bottles were on the shelf? 12 bottles. And did you observe how many bottles were there Sunday morning? 6. Let's now move on to our transcript and some for-voice practice. And we will start with the plaintiff attorney. Excuse me. Ready? I'm hearing what you're saying. You're kind of lumping things together. So there were 2 areas. There was either the Tustin Avenue area or the Santa Ana Tustin Avenue area. Can you spell that for me? T-U-S-T-I-N. And with regard to the location where this accident happens, does that fall in any of those 2 categories? Yes. Which one? The Tustin Avenue area. And after that following 9 months, that would bring us down to about September or October of 2012. Then where were you assigned? I'm sorry. That would have brought me through about December. Okay, my estimates were off. And then December is when I began working the graveyard shift with a partner. And what area was that? And that was typically the east end of our area, which is Riverside. After December of 2012, had you ever done any patrolling in the Santa Ana or Tustin Avenue area where this accident happened? After December 2012? Yes. Off and on? Yes. About how many times? If you could let me know. I would approximate maybe 70 or 80 nights. And do you know since December of 2012, do you know if you'd actually gone by the scene where this accident happened? Yes. And had you? Since the collision? Since the collision? Yes. No. Since December of 12. I'm sorry. Yes, I have gone by the scene of the collision before. About how many times? Approximately 20 or 30 times. Have you investigated any other accidents at that location? No. Have you investigated any accidents within a mile, either direction along Brea Highway? No. When I say a mile either direction, I mean citing the location of this accident. Correct. I have not. Okay. And I think you said since December 12, you've been by the location. Did you say around 20 times or so? Approximately 20 or 30 times. Okay. Did you, since the day of this accident, have you gone back to the location of the subject accident? Can you restate that? Certainly. Since the date of the accident, since the day this happened on May the 4th of 2012, have you ever gone back and stopped at the accident to look at the accident scene? I did a couple days after the collision. And how long did you stay then? Approximately 20 or 30 minutes. And what was the reason why you returned to the accident scene? You say it was a day or two after the accident happened. Correct. This was to make sure that my sketch diagram was accurate and correct. And when you say the sketch diagram, that's a part of the report? Yes. Okay, we'll come back to that. Other than returning a couple of days, day or two later after the accident for about 20 or 30 minutes, had you ever returned to the accident scene for any reason since? No. Now, I want to go back and fill in a little bit. Since you were patrolling on your own, that would have started somewhere. Was that around January or February of 2012? Yes. Okay. Do you recall which month it was? Was it January or February? I believe it was January. Okay. And was January or February, whatever, then you would have been patrolling on your own, as we discussed, through December of 12, when then you went on graveyard? Yes. And during that time you spent Thursday and Friday at the 522 exchange, I think you mentioned. Yes. And then Saturdays and Sundays you spent either patrolling Santa Ana or the Tustin Avenue area? Yes. And would your time be on Saturdays and Sundays? Would it be you patrol one area, on Friday another area, or Saturday, or strike that. Would your protocol or your policy or procedure be that you'd go Santa Ana on Saturday and maybe Tustin Avenue on Sunday, or would it vary from time to time? It would vary on the amount of officers that we have that day. And in that particular area of Tustin Avenue, you know, the beat, if you will, the location where this accident happens, how many officers patrol that area on any given day? 1. And again, from January to approximately December of 2012, on Saturdays and Sundays, how many times do you think it was? I'm talking about your percentage. What was the percentage of the time that you spent patrolling Santa Ana versus Tustin? I would say I patrolled Santa Ana approximately 15% of the time. And that will conclude our Q&A practice.